Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Foreign.
Oh, 4-0. It's a clap.
4-0. I don't know if
You
I
stole
stole that
you
joke
stole
from
that.
the Liberty football account. I don't know who's running that thing these days, but we need to get, I think it's Kylan. We need to give him a little shout out.
Yeah, he's a clever kid.
Wow, off the top, getting a shout out.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. That's what the Flames are doing, just running
By the
through
competition,
this,
yeah.
past the
Yeah.
competition.
Unbelievable.
4-0 to start the season. Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. Thanks so much for joining us. Okay, we have a lot to go through.
A lot to cover.
We'll react to this fourth victory for the Flames. We'll also talk a little about our Flames fantasy standings. We have Mailbag if you want to join in on the show.
Good mailbag. Really good
Mailbag. It may or may not have to do. I promise we're not going to talk about Taylor Swift.
We will.
Maybe a little.
Okay, maybe a little.
Just a touch.
But let's react first to this FIU victory. After the game, Coach Chadwell said, unbelievable effort from the defense and special teams. What was your reaction to the victory?
Yeah, there wasn't much drama. You know what I mean? I think we found out pretty early on how this one was going to go. We talked about last week how FIU, although they were 3-1, the numbers kind of didn't make sense. I mean, you kind of saw that in this ball game. Liberty held the defense to 64 rushing yards in the game, 1.9 rush yards per carry. As we know, at times that had been a little bit of a struggle for Liberty or a perceived struggle. They shut them down. The defense forced 6 3-and-outs in this ball game. So I know that Jamie Chadwell said the most complete game they played defensively, and I would have to agree with that. Like it just wasn't a game. I mean, there was a little bit of drama, I guess you might say, just because of the couple of turnovers. Yeah. But like Liberty could have hung 50 without batting an eye if they wanted to. This was, as Joe Yaku would say, good old-fashioned blowout.
Tail kicking.
Yes. Okay, that too. Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about Conference USA and if there's a cliff between some of the top teams.
I do want to get into that. And Joe, you and I were texting a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was not close.
Here's as my daughter Gracie Yaku would say, here's the hashtag bottom line.
Okay. Oh wow.
She's been on a fire about that.
Okay.
Hashtag everything.
Huge Swiftie.
Yeah, she's a huge Swiftie fan. Huge Swiftie fan.
Twisty
Huge Swiftie fan. Ridiculous, by the way, but that's a side note. Yeah. But she went on a kick where she finished every text to me with hashtag bottom line. Right? Okay. And here's the Liberty football hashtag.
I'm surprised you hadn't stolen that sooner.
I know. I really should have went to that earlier.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to it now.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're going to go
here's
to
the
it.
segment.
Here's your segment. Here's the hashtag bottom line. Right? We could turn that into a segment.
Yeah.
When you look at Liberty on both sides of football, okay, so you got their defensive front seven and their offensive from tackle to tight end, right? They are dominating within the box, right? And that's where you're starting to see where when you can make that, Liberty's never going to have a problem finding skill position. Jamie Chadwell's never going to have a problem finding a quarterback, right? They're going to be able to recruit. They're going to be able to do that. All that secondary wise, they're going to find skilled players. It's a cool place to be at recruiting wise. It's a great university, a great culture. All this, but can you find the big dudes and at the linebacker position on defense to win inside the box? Because that's where the game of football is played. And the way the offensive line is getting on their block. Dirk's got them getting on their blocks, and then they're chipping up to the second level, and they're finding the holes in between tackle to tackle. That's where I get fired up.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you get fired up because it's like
that's a hashtag bottom line.
Dudes who are actually moving. They're moving. They're getting on a block, chipping to the second level. Guys are pulling, kicking out, creating space, and then the back, bam, they're hitting it right up the pipe, right? And so you're running the ball within tackle to tackle. You do that. Everything else, I'll put that thing on, right?
Okay, wow.
I just feel a little unsafe around
That's a hashtag bottom line.
Hashtag bottom line.
That is a hashtag bottom line.
And on defense, what you're seeing, and I think this is a big part of it, is the patience at the inside linebacker position. Tyler Dupree sort of took that little bit of like, he's more of a pass coverage guy. Well, guess what?
No way.
He's starting to understand how to play inside backer where you have to show patience and then bam, you're pouncing on them. And they're doing and getting Kenny Charles back, they're doing a really good job of winning on both sides of the football in the trenches. You do that, you're gonna have a tough time, baby.
I mean, speaking of Kenny Charles,
and that's the hashtag bottom line.
Yeah, speaking of Kenny Charles, he made his first return this season, and wow, I mean, welcome back. And he was maybe a little
He
bit out
thought
of
about
breath
taking
there.
that fumble back,
almost
didn't he?
took-
And it's like,
yeah. I think he was just like, oh, I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
But incredible game for him. Where
5 tackles, 1 sack, a fumble
And think
recovery,
about
also
that.
another half tackle for loss.
And he's just warming up.
And he's on a pitch
Oh, yeah.
count,
He's
essentially.
on a
Yeah,
pitch
yeah.
count.
So
He's just
impressive
warming
stuff.
up.
Listen, you talk about the run game for Liberty. Second now in the nation in rush yards per game, trailing only Air Force. 271
kidding
rush
me?
yards
I did
per
not know
game.
that.
Yeah, Lucas and Cooley both go over 100 yards. Obviously, factor Salter in. He had 77 in the 2 scores. Can I just say this? Can we get Quentin Cooley a touchdown? Forget the fantasy stuff. I don't care about that. Get the man
Wait,
a
what, you're
touchdown.
telling me he hasn't scored?
Hasn't
He has
scored
not
yet.
scored a touchdown.
He's gotten right there. You could see it. Like, you could see it. He was like, he wants it. Give it to him. Lucas got another.
Oh.
Caden, don't you have enough by now? Haven't you run in enough? Can't you let Quentin Cooley take one?
I
Let
agree.
the man
Not only
taste the sweet nectar of the end zone one time.
I know.
One
He
time.
gets
That was a
down
good
to
sell.
like.
That was a really good sell.
That's
I
the-
feel for the guy.
It was a passionate
Give
sell.
the man, let him get in the end zone.
Listen, it's about team, Matt. It's about team. It's not about, you having feelings for one guy so you can score fantasy
No.
points.
No, he's on my fantasy
Oh,
team.
that's
He's not even on my team. I just want the kid to get in the end zone.
Then that's legit.
Yeah.
I thought you were just trying to ulterior
No, I
motives.
just want Quentin to get in there.
However, I did ask
That's a
Caden
hashtag
Salter
bottom
if
line.
when he scores a touchdown
He started
this
to do
week,
it.
can you do the
little
little
salt thing.
bay? He did it. I don't know
did it.
what line. I think there was a lineman
It
that
might have been Chase Mitchell maybe that he was doing it with.
that-
There's a lot
Did
of
the
things you can do
LeBron-
with that.
Yeah.
And if the Flames need the creative genius of Yacht Talk to come over and we can talk through some scenarios,
my gosh.
I mean, you
Is
can
there-
you can flip the eggs.
Is there an opportunity
You
for
can-
Caden
you can
Salter to get an
this.
NIL deal with Morton Salt? I think that's almost
There?
too easy.
It's
right?
almost.
Give me something hard because that's
Right?
almost too easy.
Yeah. I'm just
However,
really good idea.
speaking of the offense, Coach Chadwell did admit that the pass game was a little off in this game. They weren't clicking for whatever reason. Do you think that that's just?
I'll tell
mean,
you who
it
was
seemed-
clicking, Trayon Sibley on that slant route that went to the hizzy baby
what a
for
season
some fantasy points.
for
for
Trayon
Trayon
Sibley.
Sibley.
Like
Fantasy.
what a season that he's having.
What a pickup by
Late
Yacht Talk
pickup
on the
from
waiver
Yacht
wire.
Talk.
On
We'll
the
get-
waiver
we'll
wire,
get into
Yacht
Because
that.
Talk.
he had to drop Von Blue, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. Do you think that this was just? Should we look too much into this?
I mean, I don't know.
far as the
Coaches
pass
have
game?
to do this, right? They have to nitpick a little bit. That's what you do. 11 to 21 for 156 yards, the 2 scores, the 1 interception. You didn't need to pass it.
Right.
Like you didn't need it.
Right.
Like so yes, I'm sure like he's looking at some plays. I know
He wants a deep ball back.
Chadwell said too there's a couple other ones that he missed. And so yeah, you want to be perfect, you want to hit, but like in the end, like it was all about the run and they were dominating on the ground. So yeah, there's room for improvement, but like you won 38-6 also.
Right.
So like you can't come down too hard on them at this point.
So is there any concern for getting a little cocky? You know, you're 4-0 to start the season.
I don't think
and you're going into a bye week.
I
But
don't
there
think-
is an October grind coming up.
I don't think cocky is the right word. I think complacent's the right word.
Yeah.
Like, could you get a little complacent? You're 4-0.
Okay.
Could you, feel like as if, oh, maybe we're a lot better than the teams we're playing, and at that point you start becoming a little bit complacent, and you think, okay, we only got to, you start looking at the schedule. Other players do, coaches do. Maybe not say coaches. Coaches always want to be prepared every week so they can go out and dominate. But players will look at the schedule like, oh, we got this team, that team, blah blah. So we need to really get up for this game.
Yeah.
These other games maybe not. So yes, you could, instead of just saying, listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who we play. We are going to get better. We never take a step back. We're going to get better ourselves every week. That's hard for the players to do. And then, so if you do get better every week, whenever you face that big game, you prepared to face a team and be ready to go instead of taking some step backwards. So complacency is what I'd be more concerned.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a concern as we just talk about the schedule. Like, you haven't really been tested yet. I guess that Bowling Green game, it was closer than it felt. It was a one-score game there in the second half. But every other game, you feel like early second half, it's pretty much been lights out, go home, it's over.
Yeah.
So there is some concern there because sooner or later you imagine you are going to be. The Western Kentucky game we've talked about for months.
Right.
There may be 1 or 2 others you feel like you might get tested in. So like, are we going to be ready for that moment if you haven't gone through it? That's the only concern. It's not really even a concern. It's just a question because we don't know. We don't know yet how they'll respond when they get in that kind of moment, because at some point it's going to come, whether it's Western Kentucky or somebody else, where it's crunch time and Caden Salter's got to deliver and he's got to throw a strike and and the pressure's on. Like, then what will happen? Just because they haven't had to experience it yet.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, when you talk about complacency.
I was talking about complacency. I'm not sure what you were talking about.
You were talking about.
Yeah,
It's
right.
Monday.
Yeah.
Just I've watched. My brain has been on full go here the last few days with all this football. We'll talk about like CUSA and just like the competition in depth in this conference in just a moment. But when you look at some of these other games, when you look at this schedule for Liberty going into October, things are going to be a little weird. It's not. No, this is the scores.
Oh, scores.
But you have Thursday against
Sam
Houston, and then you go on the road, quick turn
Tuesday.
at Jacksonville State.
Who is Sam
Thursday
Houston?
to Tuesday. Wasn't he part of the Independence of Texas?
Was he? Okay.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Sam Houston.
Old Sammy Houston.
Texas
Sammy.
Independence. Remember the Alamo, Joe.
Remember the Alamo?
You forgot.
No,
So-
I never
You
forgot.
forgot. Don't
So
forget.
it's a bye week, yes, but it's going to be a little shortened with that Thursday game for
I
the
think
Flames.
it comes at a good time.
Yeah.
It's
perfect.
and every coach
But-
says this. No matter when their bye week falls, they all try to talk everyone into like, this is the perfect time for a bye week.
We really need it now.
Yeah, really, this comes at the perfect time. But I think this is good. You get that 4 games under your belt.
Yep.
A good kind of, as you said, especially with some of these blowouts, kind of, all right, let's check ourselves a little bit. Let's
self-scout. You
refocus.
can do a little
self-scout.
Yep.
Get ready for Sam Houston at home, midweek game. Hopefully it's going to be crazy. A new kind of situation, so the players should lock in. Oh, you build it up midweek on the mountain and kind of get them fired up. The one that worries me,
Is
and I've said this for a
Jacksonville
while, just because of how it falls on the schedule, is Jacksonville State.
Who called Jacksonville State as a sleeper team?
That's right.
That would be Yacht Talk.
That's right.
Baby.
They've been playing well on the road. Liberty's lost there before, and you have that quick turn. And so that is the one thing that scares me just a little bit.
Time out. Quick turn.
Thursday to Tuesday.
Wait, they play Thursday then Tuesday?
Yes.
They don't go Thursday,
No.
Thursday, Tuesday, Tuesday?
No. Thursday, then Tuesday. Also,
What in the
Jacksonville
world
State
are
has
you
an extra
saying?
day of rest because I think they play the Wednesday before.
And Jacksonville State
Oh.
just picked up a shutout over Eastern Michigan, 21-0
Yeah.
this past week.
Thursday, Tuesday.
Yeah, so quick turnaround.
Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the schedule. Welcome to
Yeah.
fall. I think
I
fall
was
was
focused
official.
on October.
He just takes it one game at a time.
I take one game at a time. I was
Right.
focused on October.
Win the
and-
day.
And I'm winning the day.
Okay, so-
all it says, I thought it was Thursday, then they went Tuesday, but it's Thursday, Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's tough.
Yeah.
If you want any more information on the Flames schedule, you can go to libertyflames.com.
Or just call me. That's fine. Just call Joe.
Or we can call you though if we're looking to buy a home, right?
Oh, wow.
And
What a setup.
I saw the light bulb go
especially,
off. Yeah.
complacency.
Oh,
Especially
No complacency here.
No complaints.
Joe's grinding.
We're on top.
if you're a Liberty alum or a Liberty staff member, you can get the hookup.
We got the hookup. If you're a Liberty alum, go to community.liberty. No, shoot.
Come on! I thought you had it. I was about to be so impressed.
I looked at you.
I know. I was
And
like,
you had a great.
I was like,
The light bulb just went down.
I thought I was like, oh, he studied this week. He's
did.
actually.
did.
that
What
was
is it?
so bad.
Go on the World Wide Web and Google.
Look this up every time.
No. Listen.
I need to start putting it on my rundown.
Yeah, put it on the rundown. Yes, if you are a Liberty alumni, faculty, staff, employee, you could get up to a $5,000. That's $5,000
Is that real
cold,
cash?
hard, real cash.
Wow.
That's not fake cash. That's not Jeffrey dollars from Toys R Us. That is real.
Kohl's cash.
It's not Kohl's cash, right? We can give it to you in Kohl's
Yeah,
cash.
we could.
If you want it in
Yeah,
Kohl's
that's
cash,
right.
you say, listen, I'd rather have it in Kohl's cash. I'd rather have it in Jeffrey dollars. I'm willing to do that. But if you want it in real money,
Yeah,
I'm willing
you
to
can
do that too. So
That's
up
good.
to $5,000 lender credit towards your closing costs at closing. Friends of Liberty program with Liberty alumni, and it is a great deal. All you have to do is go to.
Well, there's a number of ways.
This is a complete train wreck.
I think you can go. Here you go. I think you can go to alumni community.
Yeah, that's what I was trying-
.liberty.edu.
That's what I was
Alumni
trying-
community.
Alumni
I
community.
need to favorite this so
Dot
every week I
Liberty
can pull it up.
Dot
Yeah.
edu. Alumni
This is a
community.
disaster.
Dot liberty.edu.
Okay, let's talk a little
And
bit
that's
about
the hashtag bottom
Bottom
line.
line. Yeah.
Go.
some of the games around the CUSA. Shocker here. Troy takes down Western Kentucky
I watched that game.
27-24.
That's not a
Yeah,
shocker.
I watched that. Troy was 1-2 coming in.
Troy's always good, though.
Western Kentucky.
I know, but still.
A lot of drops.
they got the snot beat out of them by
Ohio
Ohio State, so that doesn't help.
So I'm interested to see how Western Kentucky bounces back this week. I think they're Middle Tennessee.
They're hosting Middle Tennessee.
Not right now, but do some research on how's that quarterback doing, because he's such a hot shot. So we don't have to do it right now. But
over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good.
It's right here.
Oh yeah. That's
So they are hosting. That's on Thursday.
Yeah.
They host Middle Tennessee Thursday.
2 games to keep an eye on. If you're a Liberty fan, 2 games Thursday to keep an eye on. First, Middle Tennessee at Western Kentucky.
It's almost like I don't even know why I'm a part of this show. This was the next segment.
Oh, is it? Oh, perfect. We're just so in sync. This is how it works. Yeah, watch that game.
One of these days.
Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky. That's going to be interesting.
Just get rolling.
Yeah. And then also Thursday night, Jacksonville State at Sam Houston. So our Liberty's next 2 opponents facing on ESPNU 8 o'clock Thursday night. So watch that one, a little early scout.
Midweek on the Mountain's a good name, by the way.
It is going to be good.
So Nebraska beat Louisiana Tech this past week 28-14. Jacksonville State,
Tech
as
hung
we
around
said.
that game for quite a while. So that's another team to keep an eye on as we move forward.
Yeah, Nebraska scored 14 in the fourth quarter. So
I know the coaches don't want to hear this, but we need a nail biter.
Liberty?
Yes.
Well, I don't think you're going to get it next Thursday. No. We'll get into that later, but
we'll preview that game. We're going to have maybe a women's soccer guest next week.
Yeah, hey,
they are just on fire.
They won 6-0.
I know.
It's not 6-0. It's 6-0.
Okay, soccer head over here. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Liberty have
6-0 on the pitch.
Liberty
simply ran out of pitch.
That's how they talk. Their subject verb agreement, is that what it's called?
Don't look at me on that.
Liberty have been crushing it lately. Instead of Liberty has been crushing it, Liberty have been crushing it lately. So you can just follow me for any soccer news.
We should mention too, next week, assuming Joe can be there, is the first week we're gonna double up on podcast next week.
Oh.
We'll go Monday.
Monday, Friday.
Monday, Friday.
And we can preview Sam Houston. We can do soccer.
Does the one-legged duck swim in circles?
And then Friday morning, we're going to be back here to recap Thursday night's game. So quick turnaround. We have a quick turnaround too. Just like the football team, we have a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
It is not easy, but we'll do it.
We're beat up. Sure, we're a little bit bruised, a little battered, but we compete.
Houston took down Sam Houston, which is Liberty's next opponent, 38-7 this past week. Colorado State beat Middle Tennessee 31-23. UNLV 48-28 over UTEP. And then Hawaii beat your boy Diego Pavia 20-17.
Yeah.
Close game on the road at Hawaii. That would be awesome to just go out and play some football in Hawaii.
Play Hawaii. I got a good Hawaii joke. It's quick too.
Okay.
I heard this the other day. Do you know that it's against the law to laugh loudly in Hawaii? You have to maintain aloha.
Okay.
That was actually way better than I expected, which tells you something about where my expectations are. But that was actually pretty good.
This podcast has been maybe one of our worst. We have bold prediction recaps, mailbag, and Flames fantasy standings in just a moment. But like I was saying, or like Matt was saying, Western Kentucky hosts Middle Tennessee. Sam Houston hosts Jacksonville State. And then on Friday, it's UTEP hosting Louisiana Tech. So a couple of those earlier games to catch while the Flames are on a bye week. What I want to ask you guys, when you look at some of these scores and when you look at just the final scores of Western Kentucky and Liberty, is there like a huge drop-off when it comes to this CUSA or this conference overall?
Well, I mean... Here's the scary thing.
I mean,
Here's the scary thing.
I'm really interested to hear Matt Warren's opinion. Here's the scary thing. I value his opinion.
Now, to be fair, Liberty's only 2 games into its conference schedule, right?
Right.
But the scary thing is, this is Jamie Chadwell year 1 with a bunch of guys he hasn't had any of his history with, have no history in his system, that he's just come together and he's rolling people.
Yeah.
They are rolling people. And as you look around the conference, like for instance, let's just jump to it real quick. Sam Houston next on the schedule. Yeah. Sam Houston is last in the nation in offense. They score 3 points per game.
3 points a game.
They are, not to run down the Bearcats, they're last in the nation in yards per game. The second to last team in the nation averages almost 100 more yards per game than they do. So they have been
what about
an
those
offensive
stats,
nightmare. And that's the next one. So barring something crazy happening, Liberty should roll again. They'll probably be like 21-point favorites in that game. So the scary thing is, and take Liberty to cover. The scary thing is, like, this is year one, and we'll see what Western Kentucky is. We expect them to be really good. But if there is that kind of drop-off, and Liberty under Chadwell is only going to continue to improve,
like how long do we have to be in this
conference?
conference?
This could get, and I don't want to run down the conference, because you want to give these programs chance to grow, and some of them are moving up, like Jacksonville State and Sam Houston are moving up to the FBS level. You want to give it time. But I think if you're Liberty and you're looking ahead down the line and you're thinking, okay, 12-team playoff, we want to be in that spot, all of that, number one, you're a little concerned if the rest of the conference doesn't step up, because people are going to be like, who'd you play?
Right.
Look at those guys.
The
so that may make you think like, okay, we've got to schedule a little bit better in the non-con, which I'm sure is an emphasis anyway. But like this year's non-conference schedule, I don't think is going to cut it moving forward if the conference as a whole isn't better than what it looks like they are right now. Is that fair?
That's very fair. And, when you look at Liberty's 4-0, okay, and I think this is correct. I'm not as statistical as Matt Warren.
But neither of us can talk today. Welcome to my life.
We're okay. We'll get through it. But Liberty's ranked, 60th in the nation right now. I believe
they did receive a vote, I believe, in the coaches poll.
Yeah, but I think overall 60 in the nation. So that tells you like a team 4-0 ranked 60 in the nation. So the question is, to your point, is with the schedule that they're going to play, how far can you? What's your ceiling? Like, how far can you actually go? Yeah. Like, can you even get into the top 25?
Right. If you're
undefeated and you beat Western Kentucky twice, you're undefeated, right? You're sitting at, what would that be? 13-0. Right? Like, where are you in the rankings? So are you sort of hamstrung in the conference to be able to be like one day, like, hey, we're trying to get into the college football playoffs? Well, guess what? You got to be 12. Yeah. You got to be in the top 12 to get there. Is that even possible whatsoever?
Unless you're playing some legit.
Unless you go out of conference and you beat a couple legit teams. But then that also gets into, when you go out of conference, when you play in a conference, this is being independent helped you so much because your schedule's wide open, right? If you go in conference, there's only so many slots that you can fit with other teams, and so what teams can you actually get the opportunity to play? It's in a very difficult spot. And to Matt's point too,
but it's also a good problem to have in some ways too, because it's like you're so dominant that you're now worried about these things.
Correct.
Right? Nobody else in Middle Tennessee, no knock, they're not worrying about the conference's strength as a whole. They're just trying to win.
They're trying to win. That's right.
But Liberty right now, it appears, they're in a different stratosphere.
Yeah.
So they can worry about these things.
Yeah.
All right, let's just not get ahead of ourselves.
Just keep winning.
Let's just take it 1 week at a time, boys.
But but all that to say.
But the other thing too, to Matt's point, is it's only gonna. Liberty's does their ceiling so much higher because they're only gonna recruit better.
Right.
They're only
the
facilities blow out. The ability to hire really good coaches as they've done, to pay them well, to hire them is only, it's going to continue to grow and improve, right? And so I think with a lot of these other teams, like they're just very limited to what they can do. The other part of it too is I think, and I don't know about all the other sports, but as the athletics as a whole, what Ian McCaw is dealing with as a whole is, my gut tells me that they're going to dominate across the board. And I may not be 100% right about that, but when you start looking at soccer and volleyball and track and field and all the different sports, field hockey, all the different sports out there, I got a feeling that it's going to be.
Field hockey is Big East, but still, I see what you're saying.
But I think even across the board,
it
may be a Liberty, Western Kentucky, and then everybody else.
Right.
And honestly, going back to all this conference stuff, I know nobody, like, it feels dumb saying this first year in CUSA, but like the number of emails we get from fans that say, when can we move to another conference? Like, you're in year one. Like, so let's hopefully Liberty can dominate the way
we sound like a bunch of spoiled brats right
now.
No,
it's true, but you hope Liberty's able to dominate the way we think they can, so that then that becomes, they kind of force the issue.
Exactly.
Amen to that.
We'll see what happens. I mean, we
got
to just slow our roll.
That's hashtag bottom line, as we say.
We're only 4 games in when we're speaking about football. Okay, let's recap some of our bold predictions before we get to mailbag.
Bold predictions.
Bold prediction
review. Okay.
Sorry.
Our bold predictions against FIU. Joe Yock went 55-7 victory for Liberty.
So I said a blowout. I got it.
Oh, okay.
Check.
You said Quentin Reese, 2 picks and a forced fumble. You went very specific there. That
didn't happen. That's okay. Keep battling, Quentin.
Emily went 48-14 Liberty win.
She beat me
in the ballpark. Salter over 350 passing.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen. He went 156.
Okay, I didn't know we were going with more of a ground game.
Yeah, 100 rushing. He got 77.
Come on, Warner. Give me something where you were close.
I predicted Liberty would score 38 points.
No,
they did. I predicted.
did.
I did.
Oh, see.
Redemption.
It
You know
is
what? I
okay.
heard about it from so many
1
people. Oh,
week.
you picked a bold
I
prediction with
figured
a guy
it.
that wasn't on the team.
What did you say the final score was going to be?
I've said 38-17. So I was off.
No, that's
You know,
outstanding. No,
I was off by a little bit. Yeah.
You have been
Was that
really
it?
hype on
No,
him.
I also said
I know, I've
Liberty
been really
forces
pumping his
4
tires.
turnovers.
I know.
They only forced 2. And I said 2 tight end touchdowns. When after Hanshaw caught the first
one,
touchdown of the
yeah.
game, I'm like, oof, I'm
You're
golden.
set.
Only got the 1.
This week's winner of bowl prediction goes to our very own
appreciate
Mr. Matthew
Thank you.
Warner.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I think I did.
This is
I've
coming
been
from the
pumping
guy
your tires
who
a
wore,
lot lately.
This is the guy coming from a guy who wore double gray today.
now-
He
Oh,
went
Why are we
double
taking
gray.
personal shots?
Oh my gosh, you guys do that all the time at each other. When I join
well,
in,
you know,
it's not
it
okay.
was-
If anybody feels bad for me,
Yeah.
you can send a note to flamecentral@liberty.edu. It's our mailbag. You can do
Or-
comments,
or-
questions, or criticism, or you can just,
Or
make me
just
feel
go
better
to-
about myself.
Or just go to www.doublegray.com.
I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
alumni
I
community.
know. I was
Liberty.
pulling up
I
the
was like,
website
oh
real
my
fast.
gosh.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the mailbag, and then we'll do Flames fantasy standings and get out of here.
Okay, here's a great mailbag question. This comes to us.
Mailbag.
Thank you. All right. This comes to us from our friend Sam. He's reached out many times.
Sam
He asks, and he actually asked
I know who
this
Sam is. I love Sam.
last week. Wasn't able to get to it last week. I was on
Great
the road.
American patriot.
But he asked, will 2023 Caden Salter be better than 2020 Malik Willis statistically? Great question. So I dove into the numbers.
He is not
Of
afraid
course,
of diving.
Matt Warner is in control of all this stuff, so he can dive into the numbers because he
Go.
knows.
Listen,
that
Joe can't even say statistically. You want him diving into the numbers? Is this what we're doing? Come on.
I'm a little bit complacent.
He's a little
complacency.
This is a disaster.
Here,
dive
let me
into
break
numbers.
down the numbers for you, okay? Malik Willis, 2020, that magical 2020 season. It was only 10 games for him that year. Went just over 2,200 yards, passing 20 touchdowns, 944 rushings, 14 touchdowns. So that's just for those of you keeping track at home. 3,200 total yards, 34 touchdowns, okay, in 10 games.
34 touchdowns?
Yep, total touchdowns. The following year, so 2021, played more games, I'll just skip the chase here, 3,700 total yards, 40 TDs. Now, the record book online hasn't been updated past like the Buckshot era. I believe the 40 total TDs is the most responsible for by any one player in Liberty history. 40 touchdowns. So that was in 13 games. So Caden Salter, if you project through just 12 games, he'll have the chance for what? 14?
14.
With a championship but let's just say it's through 12, right? He projects to 3,500 total yards. So just under Malik.
Wow.
But he projects to score or be responsible for 48 touchdowns at this point. That would blow that number, that record out of the water. So in terms of yardage, very similar.
There you go,
touchdowns,
Sam.
way over the top. Now, maybe he lets Quentin Cooley score a touchdown the rest of the way, so that number could come down a little bit. We'll see. But
I doubt that.
Yeah, but that would obviously set the record for Liberty most touchdowns responsible for, and would be one of the great seasons in Liberty history. Period.
That's
Great
exciting.
question, and it was interesting diving into the numbers.
Hey, well done, Matt.
Well done.
Once again, pumping his time.
That's right. Playing off of that, our next mailbag question. This comes to us from our old friend Thomas, reaching out.
Tommy!
He wants to know,
Tommy boy.
do we think Salter's
great
success?
movie.
That is a great movie.
He looks in the back and there's
That is a great. That
That's
was
you.
awesome.
Fat
Yeah,
guy and a little-
yeah, little coat, yeah.
I know, you don't know
Yeah,
the words.
no, that's a great movie. All right, he wants to know, do you think Salter's success is because of him just natural improvement during the offseason, or does Chadwell's offense just fit him better? Also, does it just help not having quarterbacks getting yanked around in and out? Like,
I think-
what do you think has played a bigger role in his success this year?
I think that just having Willie Korn and this staff surrounding him and kind of like starting from step one with him, learning this offense has helped. What I say?
Clean slate.
Oh yeah. Just that and that belief, right, and that confidence in him. And it's not no knock on Hugh Freeze or the other staff, but it's just like when you start from scratch, I think it's a lot easier to build that together and knowing that they're not going to pull you when you make one little mistake.
You think Hugh Freeze would like to have Caden Salter right now? That's a story for another day. Joe, what do you think?
I think it's 100% that this offense is perfect for Caden Salter, right? It's the clarity of the vision, the clarity of the direction, the clarity of the offense that is coming together for Caden. When you're able to put the triple option element into the offense where you can run the football, attack the edges, stress defenses so much, and then on top of it, you take two things. His athleticism, right? Yeah. The threat of him running the football, and then the second thing is his ability to throw a really good deep ball, right? When you have those two weapons at your disposal, there's so much more you can do within the running game because you keep safeties in the secondary back. You spread people out, which allows you to be able to run the ball, and it puts so much stress on a defense to have his style of athleticism. And then I think the other thing, too, is that what Caden isn't given enough credit for is that, and he's starting to show this, he's a smart quarterback. Like, he's making his reads, he's making his throws, he's going through his progressions. Like, this isn't easy to do with all the different elements they ask for in this offense. So, but overall, I think this offense is tailor-made for a guy like him.
Yeah, and I think once you have an offense that is made for you, it makes it a lot easier for Caden. Like, when we were coming between spring, I guess, and summer, he really dove into the playbook.
Right.
Like, we heard that he was watching more film than any other guy in that quarterback room. So I think that is another huge leap. I think there's a lot of different elements.
And I want to say this, too, because go ahead.
It was a little edgy for him for a while in the transition.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was a little bit, but I think finally in talking with Coach Chadwell that Caden made the decision, like, okay, all right, I'm going all in, right? And once he made that decision on his own, like, guess what? I hate to break the news to you, Caden, but Jamie Chadwell ain't budging, right? You're going to do it. He's got his offense. It's proven. Right. He's been successful. The guy's National Coach of the Year, right? So he doesn't have anything to prove. He just has to say, okay, you guys need to buy into what we're doing. And I think when Caden finally made that decision that he's going to buy into what Coach Chadwell's doing, what Willie Korn's doing, Newland Isaac, that whole offensive staff, at that point, then you saw the thing starting to roll.
Yeah, a couple things. We give so much credit to the new staff because they are new and that they obviously have played a huge role. Also, I think major credit to Caden for doing the work.
Correct.
Right? So, like, let's make sure we could get that too. The other thing I'll say, and I've said this a lot, and I feel like this gets forgotten quite a bit, is going back to last year. Remember, he missed 5 games with injury in the middle of the year.
That groin injury.
He played that ODU game we found out later. He was hurt then.
Yeah.
So he really, 6 games were affected by that. So in some ways, you'd say his growth was probably stunted, sure, by the yanked in and out and all that stuff, but also because he missed half the season. Mm-hmm. So maybe some of the growth he's done here recently, he could have experienced some of that last year if he had been healthy.
Yeah, and that's why you can't get on Coach Freeze too much because he was dealing with a lot of different.
BYU and Arkansas. I know the finish. We all remember that. But,
exactly. JB goes out and beats BYU and Arkansas, and and then you got injuries. You got so many factors that play into it. Yeah. So having my point is having the clarity of direction to be able to say, okay, this is our guy, and then he's running the offense and doing a great job with it.
I mean, look back to his high school numbers and stuff. He was that. I'm pretty sure he's the highest rated recruit we've ever had. He's a 4-star out of high school. So it's not like he didn't have it. I think that
you
transition
just watch him at a practice and you're like, okay, that's more like when you saw the ball come out of Malik's hand and you're like, whoa, that's different than any dude I've seen before. He's more in that ballpark. Yep. All right, last mailbag question. This comes to us from Mark. He wants to know, and this goes into a conversation we were having before. You brought up Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and that's been all the talk. Who's not talking about that, right? Mark wants to know, talking to us, are we flattered when someone recognizes us in public and asks about a recent Flame Central podcast, or are we flustered that we're not able to go about our daily lives in peace?
It is so difficult. I mean, the amount of attention that the Flame Central podcast.
People don't know the burden.
It is so difficult
They
to
see all the
be.
glitz and glamour. They don't know the curse of fame.
You know, it's tough.
Yeah, right.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of that depends on whether, if or if not, I have my security with me.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So if
Well,
security,
he did follow it up by saying, Joe does say he's a man of the people, for the people, with the people. So you better be careful how you answer this.
yeah. So this is what I've made a decision.
Yeah.
I made a decision. Like, you know what? Because I am a man of the people, for the people. A lot of security companies have come to me.
Sure.
I've said no. I am of the people, with the people, for the people. And the people.
Yes.
I didn't know what the last one was there, so I just went with that and the people.
Yeah.
So no security.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
No security.
No security.
No, don't need security, right? I love it. I love seeing the fans out on
It's
the
great.
streets. It's great. Absolutely. The more, the better.
Yeah.
I love it, and I've told these guys a story before. I was walking on the trails, and I don't even know, Blackwater Creek trails, and I go, Stanley, and somebody goes, I know that voice.
I know that voice.
Is that the voice of an angel?
Is that the lady?
No, I'm the host of the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage.
lady.
That's where I know your voice.
Yeah.
It's a lady
So,
who wore that scary mask.
It is actually the most obnoxious. But I was telling the guys, dating Taylor Swift or anyone famous, like being that famous, Justin Bieber, you can't do anything. You can't go anywhere. You have to like go on your own island, or you can't go to dinner. You can't
Every
just
time I
walk
go
in
to
Alcova
Cookout,
Mortgage.
Every time I go to cookout, it's like, please just let me
have my
eat
shake.
my chicken quesadilla.
Can I just have my
in
cookies and
peace.
cream shake and be in peace?
So that would be miserable
You're a
to
lot
me.
like Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Fame-wise.
Well, okay.
Yeah, fame-wise.
Okay, well,
But I want to mention this too. Mark asked, he actually wants to come. He requested, could he come to a live taping of the
wow.
Oh,
podcast?
yeah,
That-
come on, Mark.
So we may be
you
able
know
to
how
work
many
something out.
times we have to step down from these?
Yeah,
That would take a
Come
while.
on,
See
Mark.
how the
Bring it on.
sausage is made.
Bring it on,
But-
Mark. We
And it's
love to
funny.
have you.
He even mentioned, he goes, I can even park at Barnes and Noble if that's what I need to do.
Man,
So
he
that-
is an avid listener.
That story
Mark.
has by far been
Marky
the
Mark.
most impactful
That
thing
is
this
an impactful
podcast has
story.
ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
Love
it.
it.
That's
Wow.
it for the mailbag.
Okay, well, I'll have to think of some other blog
Keep the
moments.
mailbag going. Keep the mailbag going. Where do you go to?
What is it? Flame Central
Oh, now we're asking
At
you.
liberty.edu. Send us your questions.
FlameCentral@liberty.edu. This has gone on way longer than what it needs to, but we're going to wrap things up with the Flames Fantasy League
Let's do it.
standings.
And bold predictions.
Basically, this
no,
isn't.
we can wait.
wait,
We can
This isn't the Flame Central podcast. It's basically Matt Warner's show powered by Alcova Mortgage. But
Hey,
go ahead.
I mean, what is jealousy? It's just.
I know, it
that's, yeah.
because he's so
Doesn't
good.
look good on
Pump
you,
tax,
yeah.
pump tax, pump tax.
All right, here we go. Flames Fantasy League.
It is so ridiculous.
It's about to get worse.
No.
Flames
What?
Fantasy League.
You're kidding me.
All right, so Joe had Von Blue, #1 overall pick in our league.
Went to the waiver wire.
Per our agreement before the season, the injury clause, you can drop a player due to injury, pick someone up. So he dropped Von Blue, picked up Treyon Sibley. Turned out to be a great addition. He leads the Flames in receiving. And he had a touchdown this week. He got 15 points from Treyon.
There's no way I only got
He
15
got-
points from Treyon. How many catches did
Only
he have?
two.
Oh, was it only two
Only two
catches?
catches. Now he had the 83 yards, touchdown. You know what? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold
thank
on.
you.
Hold on.
Let's
6,
adjust that.
12,
Let's
1,
adjust
3.
This
Did I
is
give you
live.
too much?
Stop.
Hold on.
Stop. It's an 83-yard touchdown. No, I should have 16 points.
No.
You get 10. You get 1 point per 10 yards, right? Is that right?
No, that's right.
Again,
It's 16
this is
points.
why
Yeah,
I
six-
have an issue with Matt being in charge
Yeah,
of
16
everything.
points.
No, that's right.
Okay, keep
Yeah,
going.
that's right. 15.3 points. Bentley Hanshaw, 12.8. Didn't get much outside of that. So you end up
That's it?
with 29.6 points for this week, a total of 102.9. Now, that sounds pretty good when you look at Emily's team. Because Emily,
Yes.
while Quentin Cooley, 100-yard game, couldn't get in the end zone, get the man touchdown. Nobody else really did anything.
Nothing, 10 points.
So you end up with 15.4. So you're at 117. So Joe's at 102,
he's
you're at
closing the
117.
He's closing the gap.
I had Billy Lucas got in the end zone, 16.2 points.
This is where I
100-yard
stop
game.
pumping your tires.
Elijah Smoot didn't do much. Kyle and Austin didn't do much. Tyron Dupree has been a monster.
I can't believe this is his
15.5
first year with the Flames.
Yeah, right. Jolly 3.5. I put up 36.5 points. I'm at 156. So I'm threatening to run away with this thing. 156
Wow.
to 117 to 102. I did the numbers here to see just overall our leading scores. Tyron Dupree on the year scored 52 points. That's the best in the league. CJ Daniels, just under 44. Joe's leader right now is Bentley Hanshaw with 32.5. So maybe Sibley can help you kind of climb back into this thing. So
Sibley's coming.
it's
It's
definitely
ridiculous.
possible.
Well, let me take the week off and think about it.
We all need
see
a
what
bye
I'm
week,
gonna
I think.
do.
That's
It's
right.
time.
We all
Yeah.
need, and that's right. And that leads us to the other
Everybody's
clause, which is After week 4, we can go to the waiver wire.
Oh, that's right. So now,
it goes lowest.
Ooh, you might want to look into
lowest
that, Joe.
to highest. So Joe, with the lowest, you would have the first opportunity to make a move.
Right now, I'm picking up.
Then Emily, then me. Would you like to make a move on the air right now live?
I would make a move on the air right now.
Do you want to crunch the numbers?
No, but he's hurt. Kenny Charles.
He's back. He's available.
Back. Give me Kenny Charles.
You want Kid to replace Brown Whitehead or Quentin Reese?
I need some time to prepare.
You don't have to answer now.
I love Brown Whitehead, but get him out. Put Kenny Charles.
Kenny Charles replacing him moving forward.
Done.
Got it.
Thanks so much for listening or watching the Flame Central podcast. It's powered by whatever he works for.
Powered by Alcova Mortgage.
For Joe and Matt, I'm Emily. We will see you. Remember, 2 shows next week. We'll start things off with Monday. Have a good bye week.